Okay. Yeah. Kubernetes architecture. Then in Kubernetes, I think I have one image I want to share that where I have covered all the major topics. Let me pause, replica set, daemon set. I will share that image. I am just taking the action item. Share Kubernetes service services image. I will share that. Okay. So where I just prepare all the notes. Just one page document. What needs to cover in the Kubernetes. Then your cluster, CI/CD pipeline, workflow, Linux troubleshooting. Then your prepare at least some logic on the CL scripting side. Shell scripting or any Lambda function, either Lambda function logic. Just don't try to remember the code, but at least how to that topic is either Python based or Node.js. So any you can take any example like start or stop server, then trigger Lambda function by event bridge. Earlier name is CloudWatch event, but now they have renamed it as a event bridge, which is serverless scheduler like a cron job or your Windows scheduler. So you can just trigger this by using this option event bridge. You can trigger your Lambda function on particular timing like cron job 10 a.m. or 12 p.m. something like that. This is the serverless event driven. So there are lots of options. So I will share you. Just remind me. I want to show you that as well. So then apart from this, definitely AWS services. I just forgot to mention here, but AWS, which I think last week or something I shared the services. So at least you can just prepare on that. But if I give you the overview, like your auto scaling, load balancer. mm, Just 1 minute. Trace कर दे. Mm. Auto scaling load balancer, then your ACM, which is the certificate manager. Every domain we will get one certificate free. We don't need to purchase any third party, but the limitation is that we can use within a AWS account, not the other application outside AWS. Then your cloud fund as a serverless Lambda function, your API gateway. Then obviously S3, your SQS messaging service, SNS, VPC inside the VPC like peering, VPC endpoint architecture, which is the private and public subnets, how we can set up that. And transit gateway we never configured in the real time, but at least the theoretical wise you can just go through this transit gateway because sometimes we will get this question. Transit gateway and your direct connect. Just theoretical concept, just you can just go through that. What is this the working? What else? Elastic case. We might get somewhere this question. It's depend, but before that, just go through the JD what they have mentioned in the profile. Elastic cache for the caching service. In that they have two things like one is Redis and the other one is mem cache. I guess mem cache. Then your Route 53 service for the DNS. In a database service, at least cover one thing, your MySQL or Postgres. So mostly you can just at least try with the MySQL and your DynamoDB, because nowadays people are using this DynamoDB, which is the NoSQL database. DynamoDB. If you can at least just try to theoretical concept like how we can set up and cluster, how to take the backup, which is we already cover in the practical session. But for the DynamoDB, you can just at least try to just theoretical wise how we create and what is the use case of that. In the DynamoDB, you don't need to set up every complete database like in the traditional. We need to install the MongoDB or something as a NoSQL database. But in Dynamo AWS cases, it's a managed service, so we can simply create the tables over there in the DynamoDB and we can just start using. How we can access the DynamoDB tables as in the RDS cases, we try to use try to connect from the MySQL workbench, if you remember, right? But in DynamoDB cases, we need to use access key and secret key or role credentials. IAM user cases, okay? So we can use that credentials to get the data and fetch. What else? Migration. When I say migration, it might be your on-premises migration or your cloud to cloud migration. For this complete documentation, I have created one GitHub project. Let me check quickly. Where I mentioned all the migration strategies and how we can prepare that based on the completely real time. Because I in last organization, not current one, I was worked there as a live migration for the databases and the applications. So based on that experience, I was just prepared the complete documentation. Let me check here. I think in one of the bootcamp I covered that. Let me check quickly. So these are the important one. You can just at least go through once because you might get the questions, any migration experience or something. Okay. Yeah. So this is the repository which I created. I try to mention all the things like not the practical demo, but at least theoretical wise from here. Okay, migration topic. What is the migration? Then why we need to do migration? Where to where migrate? Like on premises to any cloud, cloud to cloud, or sometimes cloud to on premises as well. Then resources we need to migrate application and the database. Migration type rehost, lift and shift. Then you are re-platforming, re-engineering basically, re-architect, retire or other stuffs. Migration planning, when we do migration planning directly, we cannot do on the production migration, right? Because we need to perform the first POC, proof of concept, in any new logic we want to build. So for that, how we can planning, discovery and planning, then before migration, what information we need to collect, okay? Then which teams we need to involve as a process, then the what approvals we need to take, then how we can follow the Jira workflow there, how we can perform the POC, maintaining the migration documentation like that. All the things I have mentioned here. So I would suggest like you can definitely go with this. I will add here. So in this boot camp, you can definitely go because lots of things I covered here. If you want to watch video in playlist, I have that boot camp video as well. If you go to live session, this session was recorded before batch starting. If you go to this live, so in this, these are the bootcamp videos, day 1, day 2 until day 5. Okay, so you can definitely check that under the live section here. So anyone tried with that Git practice apart from Ganesh and Ravinder, I guess?
I tried, but actually my laptop is a pretty much old, so I'm
Hmm.
getting some issue actually. So I'm just trying to upgrade my OS. It was Windows
Hmm.
7,
Okay.
but getting very much issue while doing the practicals. So I'm just trying to
Okay.
upgrade my laptop and do the practice.
Okay. Okay. No issues. But at least you sign up your GitHub account, right?
Yeah. Yes, I did. I also installed the VI code
Okay. Okay.
and Git as well in laptop.
Okay. Okay. I'm not remembering more topic now, but I will add if I remember. Hmm. Kubernetes, Terraform, Lambda function, monitoring. Sometimes we called as observability, or SRE people follow this strategy, maintaining the infrastructure. Anyone experience on the knock engineering? Because I'm not remembering clearly what they do, but at least alerts, if they get any alerts or they pass to the next team. Is that like something? Anyone has
Yes,
idea on the?
yeah.
Okay.
Actually, one of the team which is working under me, they are working on observability engineers. So
Mm-hmm.
suppose any kind of in situation like a regular alert, they have a SOP. But if
Mm-hmm.
any alerts which is a come like host down or services down or any platform is not accessible, so they try to escalate those things to the SRE team. So
Mm-hmm.
accordingly, SRE team is involved, and if there is a major issue, they call an incident as well for that. So this
Mm-hmm.
kind of workflow is happening over there.
Okay. CloudWatch, CloudTrail. So it's basically the question like Ganesh I pasted yesterday. So if you want to track any changes, whatever happening in the accounts, if anyone deleted any resources, who log in from which IP address and which username or something, any API related activities we can track through this CloudTrail. Sometimes people use WAF, web application firewall. I have not configured this, but at least theoretical, you can just read about this little bit. What is the WAF? And there are more security tool as well, which I want to learn in the like there are multiple security tools. If I search here or the go to the category wise, let me check security. You can just try to just theoretical wise, just guard duty. What is the guard duty? There is one more service. Yeah, this one WAF. Okay, which I am talking. This is the web application firewall to protect the your application. If anyone brute force attacking or other stuffs, I think config is there. So this service track all the changes in your account, any resources changes or something. I have not practically configured, but the concept wise, you can just check on this. What is the AWS config? Okay, because in the big organization, these things use. This is for the auditing purpose. What changes happening in the account? So theoretical wise, you can just read about this. Monitoring at least people use lots of tool in the market like your Nagios, then your Grafana, Prometheus, or sometimes people use ELK, Elasticsearch Kibana, and inside the AWS, it's a CloudWatch because some project standards, they don't want to use any third party tool, so they might use this CloudWatch. And just remembering one topic here, I will definitely share this image to you. But before that, like one more thing, like how to monitor the pod monitoring. So there is one tool, Fluentd, if anyone aware about this, that we can create and we can push logs to CloudWatch there. It helps us to pushing the logs for the pod logs. Just 1 minute, I'm just getting that image because later on I will forget. Yes, I got that. I'm just sharing on our batch group, so you can just go through that if you are preparing for the interviews. So definitely going forward, we will cover those. But for now, immediate basis. Okay, I just shared on the batch group that image. So this one.
Last is a anti-affinity.
Yeah, which the content I collected from one of my experienced friends who is working extensively on the Kubernetes, but on the Azure, not the AWS. In the real-time troubleshootings, you might get the question on this, like auto scaling. If sometimes auto scaling not working, then your Linux troubleshooting commands, like let me cover first. Meantime, any doubts in this, like preparation? Migration challenges. So for migration, we can use DMS, which is the data migration service. And for application, we have a MGN something. Let me check once again because they rename the service, application migration service. Yeah, this one. So for the VMware to AWS EC2 migration, they have one OVI template that we need to download and launch it from your VMware. Which console we use? A Zen Center or something, or vCenter in the VMware console? vCenter, right? Or Zen Center? Let me check quickly. This is the console you can normally use. I don't have VMware experience, but I think some of the members might have. So there we need to download that OVI image and that we can launch it there and we can just configure the access key and secret key. And after that, we will get that once authentication completion from the VMware to AWS, we will get that all the VMs which we need to migrate. So we can just push those images to VMs to our AWS. So which will by default generate as AMI in the AWS. And from there, we can launch it as a normal regular instance. CI/CD pipeline related issues like If CI/CD pipeline fails, then how we can check the logs, how we can communicate to the developers like that. Because every failures will not related to our infrastructure. It might be your any code related stuffs like environment variable missing or something, or any runners where from where we are deploying that might be stuck. So we need to restart that job or something. Or after the any missing configuration files, that might be pod related issues that we need to migrate, sorry, monitor for monitoring post deployment. The RDS related issues you might face. RDS like if any records mismatch or some developer deleted any records, so how you can recover those from the last successful backup, right? So you can, in that case, you can just launch one more RDS instance from that snapshot, and you can just take backup from there, and you can just restore into the current database instance. Directly can't you can restore, but through the import export or any Linux command like MySQL dump and restore, you can just try to that, or use any MySQL client, either DBviewer or Workbench something. But if you have a huge data, then it might be stuck over there, because that will not handle if the data more than 10 GB or something. But at least in that case, you can use Linux based command to take the backup and restore into the existing database through the command line. But directly from the snapshot, we cannot restore into the existing running database instance. So that's not possible. Then replication lag. We need to monitor replication lag as well. The replication lag is basically, let's say they have a cluster setup like master and slave architecture. In that case, if something because of the network issues or any other more major read operations on the servers, so in that case, that server gives the lower poor performance. In that case, lag will be there. So that we need to monitor in CloudWatch as well. So we will it will generate CloudWatch replica lag there. So that matrix we need to configure as a alert setup. That basically we need to sync from the master. If let's say in my on master you have a 10K records or data, your data, but on the slave it's only 9,000 something, 9K. So remaining 1,000 data you need to sync. So you need to keep the watch over there. So at least you can just configure the monitoring as a replica lag. You can like 3 minutes or 5 minutes something. So if anything goes beyond that replica lag, so you can at least get the alerts and you can just monitor the performance. So database level operation definitely DBA team will handle, but at least monitoring part we need to take care. Any topic I missed here? Architecture or Docker commands, then your Docker image scan tool, multi-stage build. So because in the real time when you're working as a, if our Docker image is more size in the like 500 MB or more than that, so how we can just reduce those Docker image, so that we can just do this from this multi-stage build. So I will try to set up this when we start with the Docker. Okay, so after I think Jenkins, we have a Docker session. So I have mentioned that point as well, because these are the real-time scenarios, multi-stage builds. So whatever the remembering now, I'm just trying to cover here, but you might get more questions out there in the real time. So in going forward, definitely once I remember, I will just try to make a note. I will share this notepad file on this group. Okay. Also, I will upload in this share folder as well. So you can just have one copy safely there. So whatever the topics we have covered till now, so you guys all downloaded on your local machine, all the videos.
No.
So at least keep, I would suggest just keep at least one backup, all the backup copy on your local machine. So not here. So these are all the videos at least download on your local machine just for the safer side. So definitely this will not going to delete, but as I have purchased the more space just to sustain for the longer period. But at the safer side, I would suggest just download one copy of this, all the videos on your local machine. Okay. There was offer, so I just purchased this 100 GB storage. But at least you can download safer side. So question wise, I just tried to gather major things like obviously this will be a normal question where you can explain your careers things, not in depth in the personal wise, your date of birth or gender something. Because sometimes I received multiple resumes there, so they people sometimes add the first name only, not the last name or something, then not mentioning the complete in the summary page, the first page, not mentioning how much total experience and what are the domain expertise in there, then skill set like that. So you can just experience in this explain in this introduction. Then what day-to-day activities you have performing. Okay, this is just to check the candidate is real or fake. As I said, there might be lots of people who are using proxy interviews. Okay, then how you take the requirements from the clients to work before launching any creating the architecture or actual implementation. Then how you coordinate with the multiple teams for and for what purpose. Okay, because we are not the single team in the real time which we work. We need to dependent on the multiple teams like our DB team, our QA team, our developer team, something. Okay, as DevOps engineer we need to coordinate with them. Okay, sometimes we need to coordinate with client as well for any standard procedure changes or something. This is something like explain with the end-to-end project which you have worked. So whatever the project you are working, let's say you are working on the one of the backend project or front-end project. So you can just explain like what are the tech stack you are using there and how CI/CD flow you configured or build. Like how in build stage, how we are building the your Docker image, how it Sonar integration we have configured, then how it check the Sonar code quality checks, then Docker image scanner as I said. So tool name I am not exactly remembering. Let me check quickly. Which tool? Anyone remember which tool we can use for the Docker image scanner for vulnerability check? There are multiple tool, I guess. Okay. Then your Git branching strategy, and you might seen some of the other questions as well. Difference between Git fetch, Git pull, or other command there. So in documentation, I am just trying to add all the stuffs. So don't worry about that. And regular some of the commands you need to remember that like to answer. Then your VPC architecture, which how you can design the public subnet, private subnet, and other settings like security group, NSCL, and your internet gateway. If you want to allow internet connection to the private subnets, then how you can configure the NAT gateway. NAT gateway is we configured on the public subnet. Okay, the entry panel might give you the scenario based question. So just don't confuse on that the scenario based. At least first try to understand the scenarios what he is trying to expect. and how he like what the scenario he gives. So based on that, if you clear on this concept, like what purpose we use NAT gateway and public and private subnet, so whatever the situation you will get, you can able to answer there properly. But first you need to concept wise you need to clear on this. What is the purpose of NAT gateway or something? Okay. So NAT gateway we will configure on the public subnet, but we can use that for private subnet to provide the internet connection. So we have already covered in this last bastion session. So you can just go and watch those videos, initial videos. Then if I want to set up the application for the across the global traffic, so then how we can which tech stack we can use. So definitely you can use as a let's say for example EC2 instance, then load balancer, and on the top of that you can use CloudFront, which is the CDN service. Okay, content delivery network. So for the better performance across the globe, you can use that CDN. In CDN, CloudFront is the AWS service, but Akamai, if you remember, Akamai is a third-party service which provides the service for this CDN. Then how to handle large traffic by using a load balancer. For this, there might be a multiple approach. Like we can use either your network load balancer, which can handle millions of requests. The second thing is like you can use auto scaling with the load balancer, and other thing is like you can do pre-warming concept use cases if you have a particular event for the particular time period. So you can approach those area. Then I want to delete older file data from the S3 bucket. How to achieve this? As I said, you can set up through this lifecycle policy. Let me show quickly here. Let's say this is my bucket name. Under the management, you will see that option, lifecycle rules. So you can simply create the lifecycle rules, and you can set up that how many days data you want to keep, and after that it will be delayed. So you can mention here this the number of days, whatever the in the project define, or sometimes client will give this requirement like we need only last 30 days data, or 1 month, oh sorry, 1 week or something, and remaining that we don't want. So you can just delete those data by configuring this life cycle rule action. So manually we don't need to do anything. You can just simply configure these rules. If you want to replicate this bucket to any other buckets, so you can just configure this replication job as well. Okay. So for that, you don't need to use that data sync service. So how to secure infrastructure? As I said, there might this for this you can achieve multiple approaches. Like for the securing your first, don't create any IMA users with access key and secret key, because if that compromise, anyone can get the access to your account, and if that users has the admin access, so he can delete everything from your infrastructure. Okay, so I think for this I have already covered the one video on the YouTube channel, but you can, if you get the time, you can definitely watch those which where I mentioned the all the steps as a security point of view, which things we need to take. Let me check quickly. I have documentation. Anyone has any other doubts till now?
No,
No?
no.
Okay. Just 1 minute. हे मॅच करायचं तुला. ट्रायंगल आहे ना, ट्रायंगल मॅच कर. Go. So for the security point of view, you can just, as I said, you don't need to create the IMA user, because in the real time we never use that. We use IMA roles. Okay, so we use that because if security access can security expose, so that will be a bigger challenge or risk. Even don't upload any credentials to GitHub repository if you are configuring or as part of the practicals or any real time. So that will be a compliance issue if you are working on the real time project. And Definitely, you can configure the billing budget to avoid any surprise billing. Because if some in one of the freelancer project where I work, one of the spammer he just create one lambda function and he do millions of requests he just set up, and because of the millions of requests for the lambda function triggers, so he got around $25,000 bill. So we handle that very carefully to get reimbursed from the AWS team. But this kind of cases we might happen if we don't follow the standards. Okay, so definitely we can try to do this storing credentials to anywhere, and then don't give access full access to any all users. If you have in the real time you might seen in real time you might seen like clients as well know they never accept your all full access. Okay, it's depend on the use cases, but they first try to give follow the proper process and try to avoid the giving full access until and unless it's a requirement. Otherwise you need to follow the CI/CD pipeline. Whatever the things you want to deploy in the AWS environment, you need to do through the pipeline only. Okay, not the manual way. So that is the reason they will not allow as a full access, and give only particular resource, particular access. As I said, let's say one of the roles, IAM roles, you want to give the S3 bucket permission. But in that case, instead of giving the S3 bucket full permission policy, just allow only custom S3 bucket policy only for that single bucket. Okay. And for single bucket, you can configure that object level permission as well, like upload or download object. Don't give the delete object permission like that. So that are the different approaches. Definitely, we need to perform the regular audits for that. Then do not open unnecessary these secure port like SSH, MySQL or any RDP for the public network like 00. For practical purpose, it's fine because we are using as a personal account, so we don't have any issues. But as a real time, we should avoid by configuring this. Definitely, we can just track the changes. Oh, sorry, auditing purpose, we can use CloudTrail to monitor the activity, API activity, and some other tools like you can use WAF as a web application firewall service for the application level protection, and other config service to track the changes. Also, I've seen in the last project where client configured. I want to figure out that which service they use. But if something you configured beyond the compliance, so we will it will trigger the alerts. Like we have configured this unnecessary port or any unnecessary security group or servers types. Okay, so that kind of level monitoring they have, that I will just trying to figure it out which tool or service they use. Sometimes client use third-party tools to monitor these changes, okay, or the billing integration. So it's depend on the project to project. But this kind of level of compliance will happen in the real time. So just try to follow the best practices in the projects. Then for this, which is we discuss about the cloud trail. So if anyone deleted any data or something, not data, but a resource like your RDS, EC2 or any API gateway Lambda function. So we can track those changes in the cloud trail as well. So like which user login and what action he performed. So those are the API activities for the AWS services. So you can monitor those from the cloud trail. Then your CI/CD explanation, which we already covered. Then I want to perform. Okay, this is for the secure way, which we can use. How we can store the database credentials securely. So for that, we can use secret manager service. Security manager service you can use to store the credentials securely, because the person only who has the admin access only can get or extract the password, otherwise not possible. And in the Lambda function, how you can use that? So you can use in Lambda function. I think show you last time. If anyone remember, or let me quickly show you. It's a serverless compute service where you don't need to run the services 24/7. You can only whatever the logic you have, you can just configure as simple as the code. It might be your .NET code or C Sharp, your Python based Node.js or any other Ruby or something. You can just easily configure that and you can just set up your CloudWatch events. So let's say you want to schedule for daily basis for that logic to perform any file operation in the S3 bucket or reading the data from the S3 bucket or sending to any SQS or something as a messaging service. So you can use Lambda function for that. So that will gives more cost wise benefit as well. And as a serverless driven, so as user wise, we will get more benefits. So I have this Lambda function I tried last time. Lambda function for connecting and database. Okay. So here, just don't worry about this code if you don't like recalling the logic, but at least how we can use Lambda function. I want to show you like you can fetch this secret manager service from the this logic. This is the Node.js base. This is the Node.js 18. Okay, runtime. So how you can just fetch the secret manager service here. So whatever the secret manager name you will get after the setup database. So that name, whatever the name generate, you can use here. And then how you can just get the retrieve the password from the secret manager securely. So you don't need to give any plain text format here because that is not a good practice. So as a compliance things, we should avoid that adding the plain text password or hard coded value. You can see this is a variable like host, username and password. So these all the stuffs we will get from the secret manager. Okay. Then this is the just sample query like how we can just execute the query from the Lambda function to your database.
Sir,
Okay.
sir,
Yeah.
Namdev sir, please increase little bit size. I'm unable to see it. The words.
I think it's your system issue. Anyone facing this issue?
No, it's good.
No.
Yeah. Because font size is 90%. And if there are any database connection issues or something, so you can just handle this kind of way. Even in the real time, doesn't worry if you have a 10 years of experience or 20 years of experience. Developer should not be remember all the codes. So we normally take the help from the internet, to be frankly. So like if any freshers come in the mind, like how we can remember this, all the logic, right? All the codes. So don't worry, you can definitely get these codes from the internet as well. If I simply search like, lambda function to connect database and taking password from secret manager Node.js. So either from the Stack Overflow website or any Medium blog or something, I can easily get some of the code piece. So at least from there, but so definitely we will try to understand some flow there because sometimes we will not get exact code what we are expecting. So in that case, we need to do some manual tweaks there, adding the additional codes or whatever missing code is there. So you can see this kind of code we can get ready-made. So but at least whatever the things based on our requirement, we need to change there. Okay. This is just a sample code. I'm just trying to show how we can just configure this logic. Even you can use your other AI tool as well, ChatGPT, Blackbox or something. Even in ChatGPT, I will get more concrete answer. If I paste here as it is, let me show you. Anyone tried with recent interviews? Anyone like real-time interviews? What kind of questions they are asking now? I think my network is working a little bit slowly. So you can see the output here. So you can try whatever the if you want to do the practice. But here whatever things like a secret manager value you need to change. So that logic should at least we need to get the expertise like let's say secret ID secret name we need to change the secret name. So whatever the in secret manager service we get the secret name there that we need to replace here. So like that. So that at least understanding we should have. Okay. And as a you might get the lots of doubts or questions in from the market like does DevOps need Python scripting or Bash scripting or something. So definitely that having the knowledge of that Python scripting or Bash scripting or other PowerShell, so that ultimately gives us more benefits to write any automation script or logic. So that is the reason people might ask sometimes in the JD you might see having the Python script or Java any other scripting plus point or other stuffs give the additional benefits. So there are lots of questions I'm just collecting. So I will club all the questions, okay, topic wise, and I will definitely share with you. So last time I shared one PDF, but I want to give you more concrete apart from that as well. So because I collected lots of other questions as well from the different friend circle, which they are giving the interview and on the real time basis. So I will club all those questions and I will share one notepad file. In notepad, I will give you the questions, but in the separate file, I will give you the short answer, not the in the detail like how to set up the VPC architecture. That you can definitely follow the videos. But for the short answer, like for this question, how we can answer 2 3 lines answer, I will definitely give you. It might take little bit time as I am dealing with the multiple things in my personal life, so just might getting the time. I'm just taking the time, but definitely you will get that because that is my long-term project, so that I want to cover anyway. Anyone any other questions apart from these?
Just like sir, yesterday Namdev sir asked one question. If our S3 bucket is unfortunately deleted, by mistakenly deleted, so how can we recover
Hmm.
S3 bucket?
Recovery S3 bucket I not asked. Where I sent that message? Okay,
In
I
group.
said this question I sent right. If you are able
Yes,
to
you
see my
sent.
screen,
Yesterday Ganesh sir sent in WhatsApp group our message.
let me check. I might be missed that. I want to delete older data from how to achieve this. I have 5 team members. Okay, this is not something by recovering, but if you want to recover, then not this is not for the bucket. This is if any. So the first to answer this first question, as I already given the answer. I want to delete older data which we can configure the lifecycle policy which I have shown. The second question, I have 5 team members who has the AWS account admin access. One of them by mistakenly deleted. Then how we can track which user it has deleted. Okay. So for that we can use CloudTrail. As I said, CloudTrail is for the API activity logs. It's for the auditing purpose. So we can just track that history who has deleted from the which IP address. And to recover the data, by default S3 bucket don't have a versioning. Okay, there is a concept versioning. If we enable that versioning from the S3 bucket, so let's say someone if deleted the data, not the bucket. Okay, if they deleted the data, then we can recover at least by doing the delete marker. So there is a concept AWS S3 versioning. For that you need to enable this versioning. Even if you configure in the replications as well, for that as well you require this. And one more question you might get on the S3 bucket, like what are the standard, S3 bucket types? I think last time Ganesh said this page sent this question. So there are multiple S3 types. By default, you will get the standard storage types, but the other storage is like intelligent tiering, archival, the one standard zone or something. So you might get this question. It's depend on if they ask this kind of question like that. Anyone some who got this question SLA? Ganesh, you face this question? I'm not remembering the exact
No,
either Ganesh or someone, but he told me like
no, no. Thing is that
they.
I haven't faced this type of questions. Just
Mhm,
I got a chance to work on the glacier side, deep archive glacier side. One of the project is there.
mhm. So one, I think one other friend, he told me like the entry panel asked about this SLA up availability times of the S3 bucket. This is normally 99, but it depends on the entry panel as well. We don't know sometimes what level question he
Only
might ask.
glacier having the more
Mm.
SLA timings. Rest nothing is there. All the has a 9999.
Yes, yes. Let me check that option. Bucket versioning. Versioning is means of keeping the multiple variant of your object in the same bucket. We can we can retrieve basically if someone deleted any object. And I think this is only applicable for the new content. Let me check this. Bucket versioning enabled.
Yeah, it will be applicable for the new content only, not for the
Yeah,
older content.
because yeah, it will
Okay.
not impact us. So it's enabled now. You can see. Let me try to upload any one object. Let's say this Docker file. It's uploaded. If I want to delete this, let me give the exact name. Docker 2. If I show the properties, you can see the version is maintaining. And storage class, you can see by default is a standard storage part. Standard storage class. You might get entry questions like what is the default storage class for the S3 bucket. So this is the standard version. You can see automatically he will maintain the version ID. Okay. So let me try to delete this. Okay. From here. And in the S3 bucket, you will not find any if you don't uh, type the name properly, you will not find the object properly. Okay, like in Windows. In Windows, at least we will see the if you type any. Let me see. If I search like banner, at least we will get the prefix name here, like badge banner. But in bucket, it will not find properly. We need to give the exact name or at least prefix. Let me try to find. Acha, I deleted, no? Okay. So you can see lots of versioning here because I'm using this from the last couple of years, this bucket. But we have, sorry, let me filter it out. So it's filter option is not available here. So we have a Docker 2 file, right? So right as we can filter it from the day, today's date, 4 May. Let me go back. Okay. Here I can give that today's date here. Okay. If I select and from the action, one option is there to restore this content. Let me check that where I can find, because in real time I have not used, but as a practicals last organization I had done that. If I open this, let me try. Okay, delete marker. If I delete this, let's see. Oh, let me check one more time. Just type permanently delete here and just delete this object. Let me check again. So this is the current version now, which has this 1.4 MB size. If I go back now, let me check if that object has restored or not. So you can see here, right? Docker to PDF. So this is the process where we can restore the deleted object back. So what we have done, can anyone explain me or should I explain again? So what we have done basically, because this might be a real time use cases, you might get opportunity to work on this. Anyone get idea what we have done to restore this deleted object? No? Okay. So what we have done is basically this is the actual object which we uploaded. And what I can do is, let's say I am the user, by mistakenly I deleted this object, Docker 2 file, Docker 2 dot PDF. Okay. If I delete this, so it will delete the whatever the current version here, which is mapped to as a 0 byte. If I click on this show version, now it's there are number of files, so I can just do Docker file here. Spelling mistake. Docker. If you don't have bucket version enabled, then it will be simply delete. Okay, you will not recover. But in this case, if your version, if you have version enabled for this bucket, so you can simply recover that. How you can recover? Just where you need to come, just enable this option, show versions. Okay. Once you enable that, you will see whatever the history you have till now, like you whatever the delete object you have deleted like that. So you can see there are number of practice I have done in the past. So you can see the date is 2020. So during the initial learning phase where I start learning on the AWS sites, so there I do lots of practice in that session. So I just do lots of troubleshooting. You can see number of files are there. So but you need to enable this show version option here. Then just file the find that Docker file which you have deleted. Just click on that. Come to this versions. This you can see two versions are maintained. So this is the 0 byte file. It's a current version automatically mark as a delete marker because we have deleted object from the S3 bucket. So now if we delete this delete marker 0 byte, so then this actual file will come up as a current version. So then we can able to see that files back to our original folders. Okay. If I delete this delete marker, instead of delete marker, if you delete original files, then it will be a permanent deletion. So don't delete that original file, only whichever the delete marker indication, only that file you can delete. You can see now that which actual data has, it is marked as a current version. Okay. So now we will able to see this file here, Docker file, right? So this is the way we can enable the versions. So let me check if existing file work or not as a versioning, because it will not impact on the older files. If I delete this demo.html, okay, so that file will not be recovered. If I open this, enable this show versions, let me find that. So this is the older file. You can see the date. And it's a null file. Okay, this is not a current file. Date you are seeing currently because I just deleted that object. Let me try this permanent deletion. Permanently. No. Let me check one more file. Meantime, anyone, any other questions?
Namdev, could you please repeat us for the GitHub?
GitHub commands or
Uh, what we need to follow the practice for the GitHubs, and that if it will be easier for us, which practice we need to follow for the GitHub?
okay. If I tell you like experience, sorry, interview wise, definitely you should have some commands expertise, which we use as a regular basis, like pulling the data, fetching the data from the remote branches to our local branch. Then how we can local branch. Then how we can
Last time
just
also you
modify
have
the
suggested
any.
that last time also you have suggested that we will transfer the data from one bucket to another bucket. If it is not possible, you can take my bucket and transfer the data from my bucket to your bucket, or else your bucket to my bucket.
Bucket means branches.
Yes.
Branch to branch, we can merge the changes. Or maybe I am not getting your point. Can you repeat once situation?
Last time, one of the points we have discussed, on that point, uh,
Okay, did you mean like that? Let's say two developers are working on the project on the, let's say, for the same branch, for example. So one developer pushing the changes. Let me try to draw here. I have not connected the my pen here, but let me try on the mouse. So this is my remote branch repository where one developer is working on, let's say, branch A, and another developer working on branch A as well. Okay. Let's say today the developer, both developer already pulled or get clone their this branch on their own local system. Okay, because we directly not use AWS, or sorry, GitHub console to modify any changes on the remote branch directly. So that is not good practice. So everyone has to first clone the repo on your own local machine. Then you can just do whatever the changes you want to do on your local machine. And now one more situation, like if both developers are using on the same branch. Let's say today this user one is working on this branch A. He done some changes related to any feature or something, and he he changes to remote branch. Okay, on the repository. Now this he developer went on leave or something. Now the developers two, he want to do additional changes on the same branch for this task. Okay, so now before taking the git pull from the remote to local, if you start directly doing the modification on the locally, and if you try to push these changes to remote branch, it's not possible directly. You will get one error like you need to first pull the remote changes on your local branch, then only it will be possible to.
Namdev, can you repeat this?
Okay, so let's say user one, he done some changes on branch A. Okay, and he push those changes to a remote repository, which is our GitHub repository. Let's say branch or ABC or something we can call as. Oh, this is branch basically. Sorry, branch A. The code developer one, he pushed his changes on a remote repository. Okay, so now the second developer is already working on this branch A because both are working simultaneously. But next day this developer went on leave, so that's why additional remaining pending feature changes developer second developer need to add those changes. Okay, so instead of first taking as a best practice, we need to first pull the data from the remote branches to our local branches before modifying anything on the local. Okay, that is the best practice. So if you miss that and we directly do local changes, so we will get the issue. Like he will automatically get the issue. Like first run the command git pull to take fetch the changes from the remote repository to your local branch. Then only that user developer 2 can able to do changes and push those changes to remote repository. Otherwise, he will not. It's not possible as a Git standard practice because it will not approve your changes like Git push. He will just give the error. If you want to try now, do you have a local setup, right? Git repo.
Yes.
So okay, we almost end of the session. So anyone has any questions before this demo? Because after this demo, we can just wrap up. Anyone or any doubts or just No? Okay. Let me just show you one more thing, because in this bucket you might seen that data get back this demo file we deleted that, but it's already because during the last practical session that was enabled, that's why the file came back. But if I show you on the new bucket, any doubts in this versioning? Because I'm showing one more time, because version things we I have already shown, but I want to show you like the bucket who doesn't have a versioning enabled. So that will be your data once you delete it, that will be permanent delete. So you can see bucket version disabled. So I have this data, it's index.html. If I delete this, because versioning only applicable so after you set up the versioning, okay? On the so let's say today you have enabled the versioning bucket and you are from the tomorrow you are uploading the data. So only those data will apply applicable as a for the versioning, not the existing one. So that bucket last time I practiced for the versioning, so that's the reason that demo file come back. Okay, so I want to show you one more time. I just realized after the practice why it's come came back. So you can see that index.html file permanently deleted, and we are not able to see that versioning option here, right? So if I enable the versioning now from the properties, versioning enable. Okay, so now if I go to objects, now I can show the version option here. Okay, now let me try to upload one more file. Let's say batch banner, and just upload. So if I enable this option now, I can see the batch banner. Sorry, only batch banner has the version ID. Okay, not this one, because these are the older data. If I delete this batch banner now, I will get that back because version is enabled. It's deleted. It's gone from this list. Okay, I deleted that file from there, so don't do that. The delete marker is not here. Okay, let me delete this. So this banner file I have uploaded. So if I, as a user, if I delete this now, so it will be generated as a delete marker to keep the temporary version. If I go to this enabling option, you can see there are two version IDs. Okay, one is original file. If you delete this original file, then it's you cannot recover this file back. Okay, so for that you need to delete only this delete marker type file, not the actual file. Okay, so now if I delete this delete marker, so I will get this back file back. So I have deleted that. Let me go back now. Refresh. See, you can see the badge banner. Okay. If I check the costing for this, let me confirm once again. AWS S3 version, because you might get the cross question in the interview. Are there any extra charges for this? AWS S3 version costing. Let me check one more time. Let me find out that word version. So whatever the storage things are there, depend on the storage limit, you will get the charges for that. Okay, so let's try for that practical. Any other questions, anyone?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, there's any way you can
Sorry, your voice is breaking. I'm not able to hear that. Sorry. Does anyone facing this voice
Can you-
issue or?
No, we are also facing the issues.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So Ben, can
Can
you
you,
please repeat your words?
okay, can you hear me? I said if there's any way you can go through see and
Sorry, but your voice has some disturbance. So better if you can type the message in chat box so I can just collect those. Okay, the VPC endpoint. Okay. So VPC endpoint, why we use VPC endpoint basically? So if any services we want to use within a VPC network, not the outside of the AWS, I mean the public network. So that for that we can use VPC endpoint. For example, we can create, let's say, if you want to perform any operation from the Lambda function for S3 bucket, like storing any data or getting the file properties from the Lambda function as just logic. So normally what will happen, Lambda function will route through the public network and connect to that S3 bucket. As we know, S3 bucket is a global access. We can connect S3 bucket from anywhere. Okay. If you have a proper authentication like access key and secret key. So that is the reason if you want to avoid that kind of situation, so we can use VPC endpoint, which it's basically help us to configure the tunnel from the within a network VPC, not the public network. So how we can set up? Let me show you quickly. Definitely, you might get a question on this VPC endpoint. So just remember one thing, whatever the we are able to see now, it's a completely manual configuration. Okay, but in the real time, you need to write down either whatever the infrastructure as a code you are writing, like Terraform or your CDK Cloud or Cloud Formation. Okay, so that is just additional point for you. So you need to learn those areas. So definitely we will see in the Terraform module when we set up that file structure and the setup deployment. So I will show you that as well. Once you come to this VPC service, just a little bit scroll down, endpoint you can see here. And you can see I have created the 2, 3 endpoints here for the S3 bucket. One for the API gateway, you can see, and one for the S3 bucket. So how you can create, I will show you the simple step. Just click on this create endpoint. First, you have to come into the VPC service. Okay, by searching in the search box. Then endpoint, click on create endpoint. You can give the any name here like VPC endpoint for S3 demo. AWS service select here. Then from the list, you can just search S3. You will see here, or just interface. You can just add this. And for which VPC you want to connect. Okay, within which VPC you want to connect this S3 bucket. We are not giving the single S3 bucket here. Complete S3 bucket, whatever the S3 bucket you are using in the account. So you can access that VPC, sorry, S3 bucket within a VPC. Okay, so from which VPC you want to access that privately, that VPC you need to select here. Let's say I have a 2 additional VPCs, and definitely you will have a default VPC. So if you have a default VPC and you want to do practical, so you can just set up for that. Just to show the demo, like demo DevOps VPC, you can select, and you can select your subnets here, subnets ID, and just click on. If you want to, if any security group, you can just select and just create the endpoint here. So it will automatically create the tunnel. And now you can, if any developers want to perform the S3 bucket operations, he can write down the Lambda function. So this is the simple process to configure this endpoint. But this is the manual way, as I said. For that, you need to create the Terraform code. If I search how the Terraform code looks like, let me search like act as a Terraform expert and write Terraform code for creating VPC endpoint with VPC name, let's say demo, okay, for S3 bucket. So you can see this kind of Terraform code, okay. This way you can just write down your provider like AWS, your region, VPC, then subnet and endpoint for S3 bucket. So these are the format. Is that clear, Ben?
Yes. Is it just for S3 buckets only, or it can work for any services?
Yeah, if you are doing the operation from the EC2 servers, then obviously from there as well. But the main
Okay.
motto is like whatever the things you want to operation, that will be within a VPC. So that is the reason we create that VPC endpoint.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So let me show that demo quickly. GitHub. Ganesh, you have a local Git repo setup, right? Visual Studio
Yes.
and Git. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
So let me give it quickly. Let me create one temporary repository. Let's say, Acha, I think we have this one, right? Demo DevOps repo. So in that we have this multiple branches.
Hmm.
Okay. Yes. So for example, we can consider as a main for just for the demo. Okay, we can consider this main branch. So what you can do is let me share this repo. Meeting link, you can just bookmark this, okay? So because every time I need to search from the history, so better to you can just bookmark this repo by creating any folder like DevOps batch and just simply you can just click on that just for the quicker access, okay? Just do only clone on your local machine, this repo. Or you can just simply share your screen and just show me how you are doing. Or first you need to clone that. I will clone from my side as well, or you can just see me, just follow what I'm doing. So same thing you can just do. You guys are able to see my screen, right?
Yes, yes, we can.
Okay. ये थोड़ा रिस्पॉन्स कम आ रहा है ना, तो मुझे आई एम जस्ट फीलिंग डाउट कि है कि नहीं, या कुछ जंबलिंग हो रहा है, कुछ ऊपर से जा रहा है क्या किसी को? एनीवन? Because I just said these are the demanding skills. As if you want to work in the DevOps industry, Git you should be definitely have must have skill. Like everywhere in every project, we don't do any manual updation on the application deployment. So we whatever the things code we are managing, we manage through the GitHub, like a source code management. Either you are GitHub, GitLab, or Bitbucket something. So that is the reason this practical should you have. Let
Namdev,
me
I'll be
clear.
sharing my screen only.
Yeah.
Namdev, I'll be sharing my screen. Request you to please approve.
Yeah, you can share now.
Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. The thing is that opening.
Sorry.
Just it is opening. So we need to clone this.
Okay. Yeah, you need to clone this repo.
What is that command? Git clone.
Git clone and that URL. Git space clone and space URL. Yeah.
It will be giving some error.
Repository not found. Just a minute. I think I created this repo as a private. I'm just guessing. Let me quickly create one more because it's a private one now. So that's why. Or let me check how I can just change to public one. Just give me 1 minute. I'm just changing the type.
Yeah, it is a private one. It is a private one.
Yes, yes. Yes, change visibility, change to public. Yes. Okay. Make this repository public. Okay, done. Now you can just try
Can
one
I
more
do
time.
this?
Yes, yes. No, no, no. This one, right? Jo earlier one. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. It will be done.
Yeah, it's yes. So you can just open that. Acha, you already in that, na?
Yes, I'm
Just
already in
do
that.
Okay, just give me one minute. Just 1 minute. I'm just doing some changes. I'm audible now.
Yes.
Demo DevOps. Okay. README file. In readme.md file now we have a two line, right? Okay, just I'm adding line 3 for user. Okay, okay. I'm checking the status. So now can you refresh that remote repository GitHub link?
Uh,
Just open that Git URL from the browser. You will see the status.
are you able to see my screen?
Only Visual Studio we can see. Yes, now it's okay.
Just 1 second, I'll finish. I have uh, I have opened
Yes,
this.
now we can see. Yeah.
Okay, demo
Yeah,
server.
just scroll down. Just scroll down a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah, you can see line 3 for user Ganesh. Okay. So now what I happen is basically what I done. We are both working on the same branch, which is the same repository DevOps repo and main branch, right? So I have made some changes on the this main branch. So now on your local Visual Studio, you can do some. Don't run the command git pull for now. Just directly try to add any lines here on Visual Studio. Let's say line 4, you can try.
How I can add it? Could you please help me?
Just open that readme file.
README git conflict. This is a
Just you can enter and just add line 4, 5 or any change. Copy paste.
okay.
And you can yes you can save this file and just run the command prompt
Uh,
git
how I can
git
save this
status.
file?
Just normal
This
control yes shortcut.
okay.
And from the command prompt just try to run git status, then just to check the status.
Okay, on the branch, organization branch.
No, I think just do ls command here. You need to go inside that demo DevOps repo. Just do here git status. See,
Okay,
you
now
have
it will be shared.
modified the readme file. Yeah. So now run the command git space add space dot just to add this file.
Git space add.
Add space dot. Yeah, enter. Hmm. Now git space commit space hyphen m, and in double quote you can write down any sample message.
Okay.
Yeah. Now try to git push and let's see if he allows or gives the error. See, he is denying basically because
You have given the permission only for the single user.
unable to access the request for the three.
You have given the only read only permissions you have given, I think.
This is the general public repo. 1 minute, let me check if this community edition has that feature available. Can you send me your GitHub ID
Yeah,
so I
just
can
1 second.
try?
I'll be sure.
Yeah.
I'll share you.
Okay. Yeah. Let me try to add this. Okay. Manage access. Okay. Yes, I have just added now. Can you try one more time?
Namdev, I think it will be giving the same error. So we need to wait around 5 to 10 minutes. After that, we can check. Or else tomorrow we can check that. That is not a
It's
issue.
saying pending invite. Can you check if you get any email from the GitHub? I think that you need to first accept the invitation. Yeah. Accept invitation.
Yeah.
So you can try now. You can see the message there. You can now push to this repository. Okay, we can do. You can try after some time then. We don't know if it might take some times.
It will be take some time.
Yeah, you can try then, or we can try tomorrow morning as well during the
Yeah,
batch.
not an issue.
Okay, okay. Yeah.